Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Are video games allowed? Parents are asking, my kids are playing video games. Which video game is halal, which is not? How do I go about that? Number one, most of these games are haram because of what they represent. There's a lot of evil, sin, and all kinds of weird things that are in the game itself. The waste of time. You are wasting time. Even if you waste your time in something that's permissible, haram. Let's say it's something mubah. You play too much football. And you're just wasting your time. You're neglecting your salah, your Quran. You're basically could be sinful. Now people ask me, what about the killing, the shooting? Is that also, does that fall in the category that you mentioned where this is what makes things impermissible? Well, the shooting is just a practice, you know. A shooting game is not necessarily haram. A rummy or shooting is not necessarily, okay, it's haram now because it's a shooting and you're not killing someone. It's just a target practice and you're just shooting and it's not real. Now, could that have psychological implications towards some children? Yes, no doubt about it. However, if we look at the Sahaba at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they used to teach their children how to shoot. Why? To prepare them if they have to defend or offend. Okay? If you know what I mean. So, that's important to understand. Now, can it have psychological implications in today's society where people don't really, like the average guy doesn't really shoot or he has to shoot? Back in the days, that was the culture. You had to protect yourself. You had to know how to shoot and so on. The brain, especially when there's no purpose for it. You have to understand, at the time of the Sahaba, they had a certain purpose. There was a higher objective of why they would learn how to fight and so on and so forth. Which is, what's halal? Is everything haram? So by default, everything is halal in Islam unless there is a proof against it. Unless there is a proof against it. And that is that right away, if something it's haram, it's haram. No, you can't do it. It's haram, it's haram. Everything's haram. Keep in mind that they're surrounded by these haram things. And parents and community leaders don't give halal options. So the child grows up with this understanding that everything is haram. In Islam, as soon as I bring something up, anything that's fun or entertaining, forget about it. It's haram. So what do? Do they leave it? They don't leave it. They hide. They start hiding. They start messing about. They start lying. They start doing it still, but not telling their parents. We need to provide options. Are some games okay? Some shooting games, tactical games, and so on? Yes, they are. Now, a lot of people say, but most of them fall in the category of the first thing that you've talked about. Not all of them. Not all of them. So we need to be careful. Now, again, I'm not giving a fatwa here. No way. But I need you to pay attention. The kids like a bunch of different games. There's a bunch of card games, there's shooting games, there's tactical games, strategic games. Again, don't just say, okay, everything's haram, haram, haram. Help them. Go with your child, get a bit into their world, which is unavoidable, and say, look, let's look together at these games. How about we choose 1, 2, and not 3 and 4? Give them some options. And last but not least, the last point that I want to make, you can't just let them do it whenever, anytime. This is the problem, right, with the waste of time. They're playing 4 or 5 hours. Even adults, subhanAllah, I have some clients that are playing 5 hours a day. And their wives are like, what is this guy doing? Do you understand? Imagine what kind of problems it causes. But you have to do 1, 2, 3 first. Homework, do your chores, make sure Salah and your Quran is done, then you get 1 hour or half an hour to play. It's better than to fight with them all the time and this and that. So, explore some alternatives, give a specific time, and let them know that they have to fulfill certain obligations before they get to the game. This is a privilege. The game is a privilege. And if they do not fulfill their duties, you remove it. You remove it. And brothers and sisters, send your children outside. Even if it's hot, let them play in the sand. Let them experience the reality, the nature. This now metaverse is coming about. We will lose ourselves. Technology is important. You have to be in line with things, no doubt. But people are going to be submerged in it and it will take over. Just like the addiction of the phone, where the phone controls us. Send your children outside. Let them play with dust, with dirt. Let them push, let them fall, scrape their knees. Let them argue, conflict, whatever it is. This is how we grew up. Let them experience nature. Don't be, oh, they're always on these games and just, yeah, it's inevitable. Because if you remove it 100%, they're going to rebel. They've been, people wake up and like, okay, I'm going to do it now. Now I should do it. But then it's late. They've already been conditioned and you remove from them. What happens is flashback. They react. They rebel. It becomes worse. Fights, arguments. They hide. They lie. They whatever. And you're not getting anywhere. Barakallahu feekum. If you reached so far, check out the descriptions, inshallah, in the link. Support the dawah. And check out my book. It's a nice book. Speaking about growing up, I talk a lot about how I grew up in Romania and in Canada, my experiences, how it led me to Islam. It's a great book. Lots of pictures in it. Lots of great stories. Order today, the links in the description. And also, guys, Positive Islamic Psychology Counseling is there. We have a great team, sisters and brothers. If you have any problems, you need to speak to a professional, counselor, coach, hit us up, inshallah. Check out the links. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.